going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Backseat Basketball Banter. I'm here with Sam, Ben, and Brandon, and today we are going to be diving into the Miami Heat's victory over the Los Angeles Lakers. So they are now down 3-2 and could force a possibly Game 7 on Sunday if they do win Game 6 on Sunday. So, guys, raw reactions right here. How the hell did Miami pull this off, man?
Yo, I'm going to start. It's like we said when they won Game 3, it's Jimmy buckets. Now, they got a little lucky there. And even Jimmy Butler said this to Rachel Nichols at the end of the game. Danny Green missed a wide open shot. And then Markieff Morris threw the ball away. Okay, so let's get that out of the way first. The Lakers kind of choked it.
Wait, let's dive into that final segment for a little bit, and we'll get back to your points after that. But I just want to highlight that was a scramble. From start to finish, we get a triple team on LeBron. Maybe even a fourth player was there. And he passes it out to Danny Green, who is open. And can you guys, Ben, take it away from me. Describe that player shot.
It reminded me, because from the 2 minutes on, I was thinking LeBron's going to get a walk-off. LeBron's going to get a walk-off. He's going to get a walk-off. This is just built for him to do that. You know, it's on a Friday. They're wearing the Mamba jerseys. They had they had everyone ready at the Staples Center for it. They had
the confetti ready too on court.
And a point of the confetti, the Lakers, when they advanced to the finals and when they when they won the Western Conference title, they got confetti. When Miami won the Eastern Conference title, they did not get confetti.
They had the trophy ready in the Louis Vuitton studded box. Man, they were ready. AD had his gold shoes on.
Yeah, which didn't really seem to help his ankle. But to be completely honest, like it just seemed, especially at that moment, like with Danny Green as well, it just got me flashbacks to when he was torching Miami, and
especially in San Antonio.
Yeah, exactly. And when he played pretty well in last year's finals. And it just seemed, I was just thinking, oh, that's going in. And
the ball goes in the air. What are your thoughts? And you see it miss. As you're seeing it miss, what's going on in your head?
Someone please get the rebound.
Yeah, get the damn rebound. Please get the rebound. Put your hands on the ball.
All right. Anybody have any emotions of celebration or relief, or was it just question? Because when I saw the shot personally, I was like, wait, what just happened? I was confused.
Yeah.
I was confused.
It was definitely a strange time, especially because the Heat did not get the rebound. It got hit out to Markieff Morris, and he tried to lob it up to Anthony Davis, and by some grace of God, he overthrew the pass. Now, to be fair, let's be fair here. Anthony Davis was playing hobbled for the last probably quarter of the game at least. We saw him in the first half. He went down and he was clutching at his leg, and he played through it.
Just for clarification, he re-aggravated his bone bruise in his
heel.
Yeah.
Okay, but it looked like an Achilles to me. So I mean, it's all in the same area. It's a scary injury, especially since he's been dealing with this.
The injury, exactly what happened with the injury is he went up to get a rebound or for a layup. I don't remember exactly.
I think he tried to rebound.
His knee went straight into a Miami. His foot went straight into a Miami Heat player's knee, and the back of his foot collided with Duncan Robinson's knee. So maybe that can affect him in the next game. But for now, I want to talk about what we just witnessed. And
the reason I brought that up is because perhaps if he was playing 100%, he would have caught that lob, and we would be talking about a completely different story. But there's so many shoulda-couldas. I want to talk about what actually happened.
I don't know about that. I don't know about if he would have caught that lob, because it looked like there was just miscommunication on that last play, and Markieff Morris threw it, and Anthony Davis kind of moved out of the way once after the lob was thrown. So I don't know if, again, all woulda, coulda, shoulda is if Anthony Davis actually was maybe 100% this game could have been the other way. With Miami trying to scramble to get the last shot up or something like that. But listen, Jimmy Butler dueled LeBron tonight. That's the whole big thing. In the last sequence, For me, I had flashbacks to, we said San Antonio, but last year I was at a game. I was at a Heat game in December. This is when Danny Green was in Toronto,
Mhm.
and it was almost like the same play. Kawhi drove baseline. Miami came with the help. James Johnson failed to rotate over to Danny Green and kind of came in with the help. And it was a late contest, and Danny Green won the game for Toronto. So like
Here
that was
now,
flashbacks.
yeah. So now I'm just gonna play a little game with you guys here, but say that play is drawn up where Jimmy Butler takes it, draws the double team, and kicks it to Duncan Robinson. How confident are you that Duncan Robinson, after putting up 26 points tonight,
7 threes.
Man had a flamethrower for an
Only
arm.
Curry and Ray Allen had more threes than him in an
That's
elimination game,
That's
I think.
incredible. Also, another great 3-point performance tonight was LeBron James. They were mostly uncontested, leaving them to drive. And
Yeah, he was what, like 6 for 8?
yeah,
Something like that.
he really beat Miami's defense by showing them that you can't just sit back and wait for me to drive. I'm just gonna shoot it up. So, anybody, before we get into LeBron and the Lakers side, anybody, give me your thoughts on Duncan Robinson. Floor is open.
I mean, Duncan killed it tonight. I think this was this is a step up performance, especially with Bam not playing as well as Heat fans might have wanted him to, and especially Tyler not getting his shot more consistent. Jay Crowder kind of struggling as well throughout the series. I mean, he had a big and 1 3-pointer, and so the same with Duncan. But um, this was a big game for someone else to step up. Like we knew Jimmy was going to get his points. I mean, another player, Kendrick Nunn. I remember that second quarter, he went off for a good stretch of like 3-4 minutes, maybe.
Yeah, he had like 9 straight.
His first 8 minutes, I believe he had 9 points, and he was just a great energy player off the bench for Miami, and was just honestly a good mix up of things. He was hitting his shot. We haven't seen that in a while. He was driving with confidence and hitting his teammates when they were open. So this is the Kendrick Nunn that we were talking about throughout the regular season about potentially being rookie of the year. He finished third in the voting.
He was first team, right? He was all rookie first team.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is somewhat like what Miami fans wanted out of Kendrick Nunn through once the bubble started. I mean, obviously Goran took it over, but since unfortunately Goran went down with an injury, now we see Kendrick Nunn really stepping up and playing the role as maybe another option coming off the bench and trying to just alleviate some points for Jimmy and Bam.
So he got the spark plug badge right now going in 2K.
Yeah. Sam, I have a question for you. Knowing what Kendrick Nunn has done in the regular season compared to the playoffs, do you think it was helpful for him to take a backseat? Do you think it might have humbled him in a way to sit and watch Goran do his craft? Because with all honesty, the way he controlled the pace of the game and the way he controlled that offense reminded me kind of what Goran does.
Yeah, before I answer that question, there's one more thing I wanted to comment on Duncan Robinson, because that was the previous topic that y'all were talking about. And I don't like harping on the refs too much, but man, if they called some of those fouls on his threes, he would have had over 30 points tonight. Let's be real about that. He got smacked on a couple of 3-pointers where they didn't let him land, and he's like a 96% 3-point or free throw shooter. He would have hit pretty much all of those free throws. He would have been like definitely crossed the 30 mark. But to your question about Kendrick Nunn, definitely when you're a rookie and you're a rookie not named Tyler Hero, you do need a little bit of that, like pumping the brakes, and watching someone as, skilled, but not just skilled, but experienced, like Goran Dragic, really take over. He was the Heat's leading scorer throughout the playoffs, right? When the Heat went on that crazy run, especially against Milwaukee. We know Jimmy put up 40 in one of the games against Milwaukee, but Goran Dragic still average was putting up more points per game. So definitely learning under that system, Kendrick Nunn. But don't forget, Kendrick Nunn was one of the 2 players diagnosed with COVID. Mm-hmm. So he wasn't able to practice going into the bubble. Then right when he recovered from COVID, he had a personal issue and had to leave the bubble again in quarantine. He had no training, no practice. So his off season, unlike everyone else's, was really like a month longer. right? So it's only a matter of time for him to get back into his groove. He's playing with a pep in his step, right? He looks like the energetic, athletic guy that we saw throughout the regular season. So I think Kendrick Nunn is back, and he looks a little bit more polished, like you were talking about. He's running
And
the pick and roll.
the
Really
shot,
well.
the shot is finally falling, which is a sigh of relief for Heat fans all
Yep.
over Miami because
Listen,
throughout the playoffs. Yeah, go ahead.
Pat Riley's just happy because now this is just increasing his trade stock, so you could get Bradley Beal or Victor Oladipo.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
totally
okay.
get you, but
We'll talk about off-season stuff when it's the off-season. We're still in the finals right
I
now.
want to
I
get
know, but like,
I want to get Ben's take on either Duncan Robinson or Kendrick Nunn.
Or both. Go for both.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for both actually. To anyone that would listen to me, I've been saying Duncan Robinson needs to start playing. He needs to start getting into the series because what the Lakers have done, and they've done this really well throughout the series, is that they know that Robinson's going to get a lot of minutes, so they're just going to go after him defensively. He's not that solid defensively yet. You know, we talked about if he can develop that, he can turn into an elite 3-and-D guy, but but really, I mean, he really showed today why there was so much hype around him and Hero throughout the season. And not only this, you know, we were all kind of excited when Iguodala dunked throughout the bubble, and it was like, oh my God, this guy's like 30 in his late 30s. Duncan Robinson dunked. Like that's the first time I've seen that.
His first career dunk.
Yo, that was unbelievable. To be completely,
Personally, I stood up and screamed because I looked up and I was like, what just happened? And I was
Yeah,
like,
you were like, is that Kelly Olynyk on the floor or something? Like, did I miss something? No, that's Duncan Robinson with his blue shoes, you know, jumping in for a putback dunk on a Jay Crowder missed three.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Anyways, then
but you know, I think if he can carry this into Game 6, you know, that would be a lot more. Be more highly contested. With Kendrick Nunn, we kind of talked about this before, but he was sitting in backseat for Goran. I loved this idea because I didn't think he was ready. I didn't think, you know, because we've seen in the regular season, as fantastic as he was, that there were some games where he just kind of dipped, where he didn't play as efficient as he could have, and even in the playoffs, he didn't play as efficiently as he could have. And Kendrick Nunn really stepped up here, and I'm sort of I'll call myself out and say, okay, I was wrong because I said he's probably going to get traded for Oladipo. If Miami will swing that off, but I think he really showed me that he might still have a place in this team.
Yeah,
because it seems like they're trying to convert Hero to more of a point guard, shooting guard kind of role because he has combo guard. So it seemed like he was kind of getting phased out of the team slowly, so they'd have a justification to trade. But Nunn's looked. I mean, you know, he's quietly looked pretty good during the series. I mean, statistically, especially, you know, his big block on AD. But
that was because he also came in game 1 due to a blowout really early, so he got a lot of opportunity, and that maybe sparked his confidence moving forward because he came in and he really although Miami was out of it. When it was the garbage time, he kind of was dominating a little bit there.
He made it look like it was a close game all along. Right, because when you look at the final score, it's not very indicative of the total score, right? Because in game 1, the Heat were getting blown out, and then Kendrick Nunn comes in with like 7 minutes left in the game. They're down 30. He hits a couple of shots. It looks like it was a close game all along.
Yeah, and to be completely honest, you know, again, I think this is really, you know, this is something that we talk about the next man up, and thankfully he was ready because Miami only came out with 7 players, and that was something that's scary. And you know, this is why Jimmy Butler, and I've said this on Twitter. This is why Jimmy Butler deserves the MVP award because he played 47 minutes and 12 seconds out of a possible 48. That means he was not on the floor for less than a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's an all-time great performance, and this has been an all-time great performance by Jimmy Butler. And to be completely honest, I think it's just I think it's really incredible. But of course, we have to look at kind of the flip side of things. And if you're the Lakers, you know, after game 3, a lot of people say, "Oh, the Lakers aren't in trouble. They'll win game 4 and 5," and they turned out they won game 4. A very close game that, again, if Goran would have been there, who knows what would have happened. But now they go in and they lose Game 5 in incredible fashion.
This is now the most losses either the Heat or the Lakers have had in the play, like a single playoff run.
Yeah, I just want to quickly say something. We've talked a lot about the Heat, but let's talk a little bit about the Lakers. If Miami Heat does eventually turn this 3-1 lead into a championship, Danny Green will be crowned MVP for the Miami Heat. No, on a more serious note, let's get into LeBron's shooting, because obviously that's an issue the Heat need to address moving on to Game 6. Let's talk about it. So is allowing LeBron to shoot the 3 a threat to the Heat's integrity at defense, or does it spoon feed them into what they actually want? Let's get Brandon's take on this.
To be honest, what the Lakers have been doing, and Ben touched on it, was trying to force Duncan Robinson into situations where he has to guard LeBron or Anthony Davis or like Kuzma or something like that, someone that can take you off the dribble and really affect you. One thing that was for sure though is the fact that LeBron found his 3-point shot tonight, which isn't always consistent, but tonight it was, and you can really see him like wanting to close this game out. And they almost did if it wasn't for Jimmy Butler and Butler putting up another triple double. I think and Duncan going off, and we talked about Miami only running a 7-man rotation. I think that's just because maybe Kelly's just a little too slow in how they want to play, and they kind of have to match the Lakers' tempo at this point with how quick they run in transition. But if you're the Lakers, I think you'll live with this game. I think you really would, because you played solid defensively throughout the whole game. I mean, yes, you might jumped out to 11-point lead, but you came back offensively. It's just unfortunate that Danny Green, who hasn't been the most consistent throughout this playoffs, especially these finals, has been missed a 3, missed a wide open 3, which is something that's supposed to be his bread and butter. But to the Lakers' credit, they kept this game close throughout, if not taking a few leads throughout the game, especially during that fourth quarter, where everything seemed to go down the line, especially the last 3 minutes. So, going into Game 6, if there's any adjustments, I think it's really trying to limit Miami's perimeter play, and if you're Miami, it's trying to replicate tonight, because again, Miami played solid tonight, and you're not going to always catch KCP or LeBron really shooting the lights out like they did tonight.
They're going to replicate and refine, because I believe that when they allow LeBron to shoot, they are forcing them to play out the outside game. They are making LeBron a shooter rather than a facilitator, and I feel that helps Miami Heat rather than hurting them. He's not going to be this on all night, all the nights, all the games. But I feel like Miami does need to do a little better job at contesting the shots that he does take, rather than just giving him freebies. It's picking your poison with Miami. But Sam, what are your thoughts on the Lakers?
Yeah. All right. So I want to jump right into something that Brandon said. The Lakers' real game plan is run some kind of pick and roll, get a switch, and get Duncan Robinson or Tyler Hero to guard LeBron. And if the Heat do that, then it's an automatic 3 points anyways, because LeBron's going to put his head down, barrel into the paint. He's going to score on anybody, and he's going to get fouled too, right? Even if someone barely grazes his shoulder, he's going to get the foul call because he's LeBron. He gets that treatment.
Yeah, we put a tweet up saying that Jimmy Butler's shoelace touched LeBron, and they were calling fouls tonight.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny how Frank Vogel was, complaining that Jimmy Butler got a few foul calls late in the game, but even the guys on ESPN or ABC were talking about how Anthony Davis didn't go straight up. He jumped sideways there to get the attempted block, but that's not even the point. The point is that if the Heat switch on the pick and rolls, that's a guaranteed 3 points for LeBron. You can just, put it in the books. If the Heat go under, which is what they've been doing, you're forcing LeBron to be a shooter. And as much as he can go off like he did tonight, chances are he won't. And not only that, when he misses long, right? Because normally a 3-pointer misses long. They don't like land right next to the rim like a mid-range or a layup will, which eliminates the Lakers' big men from getting the rebounds and imposing their will on the Heat, right? A long rebound leads to a fast break, and the Heat can run, right? So if you're putting Dwight Howard and Anthony Davis out there, right, as your two men, like your two big men, and they're hanging around the block and the post, and LeBron shooting threes, Duncan Robinson has a good chance of grabbing a rebound just because it goes to him, right? If you're letting LeBron barrel into the paint, there's no chance if he misses that Tyler Hero is grabbing a rebound over Anthony Davis. No, it's a putback dunk every time. It's free points. So you have to go under all of the screens. And listen, if LeBron's going to torch you from the 3-point line, you live with it. He made a shot from the logo today. There's not very many people that can do that. And, when you're going against one of the greatest to ever play the game, you got to just, pick your poison, like Jonathan was saying. And for LeBron, 3-point shooting is that poison.
Yeah. Very interesting points there, Sam. I do get the analysis of what you're saying about the long rebounds was very advanced analysis. So I appreciate that. Ben, what are your thoughts on what Sam said or anything you want to get off your mind here?
I mean, Jonathan, Sam, you guys took the words out of my mouth. I've been saying this the entire time. The Lakers aren't going to shoot as well as they do on some nights. We talk about LeBron, but we also have, KCP going off for 16. Green got 8. And to be completely honest, I'm somewhat kind of confused as to how they didn't win this. To an extent of they had both Anthony Davis, and I said if you can hold Anthony Davis and LeBron to just under 60, you have a shot.
Mm-hmm.
They got 68, and not only that, they got 68, 25, and 10. If you're gonna go down the stat lines, I mean, it's just it's a weird game, and especially with someone like LeBron who was shooting lights out, and that's something that we've seen him refine over. He wasn't that great of a shooter in Miami, but he went and he kind of changed up his form in Cleveland, and now in LA is shooting somewhat better. I think that Anthony Davis is going to be the big talking point. I know we'll get into Game 6 a little bit, but the big talking point, if he'll still be 100%. Look, we saw, and not to jump back to the Heat, but we saw Bam, and he didn't look 100%. I mean, he's fighting to be on that floor, but
man, you see Jimmy huffing and puffing also.
Yeah,
when he got hit for that last free throws, right? They're all banged up, man. You don't get this far without getting banged up.
Yeah, and then he got slapped across the face by Dwight Howard, who.
Yeah, I wanna talk about that a little bit, and the Anthony Davis incident too with the injury. But let's talk about Dwight Howard and Jimmy Butler's little scuffle, which earned both of them double techs, and then later on in the game, Dwight Howard earning a flagrant one when he literally almost beheads Jimmy Butler. But
dude, man, it was trying to give him a concussion.
Yeah. So let's first talk about that scuffle at the beginning of the game. What were your guys' initial thoughts? As a Heat fan, I like it when the guys get a little physical and are showing emotion. Jimmy is that leader and that guy that will show them that he's not playing around and you're not going to get away with the easy stuff. So I feel like that scuffle kind of set the tone. But Brandon, what are your thoughts on that?
First with the scuffle, I mean, Dwight Howard's always been a player that can get under another player's skin easily. So he's a very physical type of dude, and he plays physical, which is nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's just how he's built ever since his Orlando days.
Yep.
That's how he's always played. Is just with the physicality of just not caring of who gets in his way, but getting either the rebound, a putback dunk, or something like that. But yeah, I mean, he's physical. I mean, but it also shows that he can be physical with other players, and other players, take exception to it and, kind of fight back.
Jimmy's perspective.
For Jimmy, it's more so like I think because, and it kind of goes back to throwing it back to the seeding games, because I feel like in this the play before when Miami was on offense, a Heat player got hit by Dwight Howard, and they didn't call anything or something like that. It looked like a bad foul on Dwight, and they didn't call anything. I want to say it was Bam or Duncan or something like that, or maybe Tyler, one of the three. And then in the play down there, I think it's Jimmy, not taking exception to it and going after Dwight, being physical and showing like you don't mess with my young guys. And it's kind of how the same thing way with Chris Paul during the seeding games where Jimmy just like shoved Chris Paul to the ground
Yep.
on a drive.
Mm-hmm.
That was because Chris Paul was messing with one of our
Duncan.
guys.
He like threw the ball off Duncan
Mm-hmm.
to force it out of bounds.
And that's when Jimmy
Butler,
said like there's no friends here in the bubble or something.
Yeah,
like
pretty much. So
it just
I guess the only guy not tampering and the only guy that wasn't tampering in the entire NBA was Jimmy Butler.
I mean, yeah. And so the beef with Dwight probably is just like, you mess with my young players, I'm gonna come right back at you. But I think what the key was tonight, speaking of role players like Dwight Howard, was the role players because LeBron put up 40, Jimmy Butler put up 35. But really, what was the big thing? Because Anthony Davis wasn't 100%, Bam wasn't 100%, was the role players. We already mentioned Duncan Robinson, Caldwell Pope for the Lakers stepped up big tonight.
Caldwell Pope played amazing.
Tyler had another 12-point game. We talked about Kendrick Nunn as well. Rondo looked decent. I mean, not offensively, but
Rondo. I want to talk about. I'm sorry to interrupt there, but Rondo kind of didn't look great. He had like 3 good plays in a row, and that's about it.
I mean, defensively, I think Rondo is always going to be a pest, but offensively tonight he didn't look good. So, and then Kuzma again kind of stepped up a little bit.
Yeah, he kind of just took a backseat to LeBron, but LeBron wasn't even officiating that offense. It was Anthony Davis. But let's talk about Davis injury here and implications moving forward. Sam, describe to us as an NBA fan, not a Heat fan, what was going on through your mind when Anthony Davis went down and was down for a while due to that heel injury.
Yeah, dude. Okay, so even as a Heat fan, you never want to win because of injuries, and especially as a Heat fan, you know how terrible injuries in the finals are, right? With Bam and Goran. Goran's still not playing, and Bam clearly, like Ben said earlier, is not looking 100% healthy. So you never like to see that, especially when Anthony Davis. It seems like Anthony Davis is always getting hurt. And then he just gets back up and plays through it, right? He's kind of like an Iron Man when it comes to that. But it's never fun seeing that because if you're going to win, you want there to be no excuses. You don't want to hear, the other team's fans talking about, oh, well, y'all only won because AD got hurt. So you don't want to see that. But from, a selfish perspective, right, Anthony Davis was out there wearing his gold Kobe's. Right. And, players only wear their gold shoes when they think they're about to win the chip. Right. And the team was rocking their Mamba jerseys because, they swore to only wear it in the finals if they thought they were going to win the game in a clincher. Right. And then, he goes down. So it's kind of like, well, don't count your chickens before they hatch because this could happen to anybody. And it happened to him in that moment. But, kudos to him. He got right back up. He played through it. Right. And we were talking about how, especially at the end of the game, he was limping down the court, man, but he was still trying to make plays. He got a couple of good defensive plays, even though one of them led to a foul call on Jimmy.
Yeah.
But he was still making plays. He was still being Anthony Davis, even if he wasn't at 100%. Ben, what do you think?
Yeah, kind of just to go off your point, I would be surprised if he misses time with this injury. He knows the extent of what's going, and as he knows the extent of what LeBron's going to do, what LeBron's there for. I mean, he said, I want to play the next 10 years with LeBron, which isn't going to happen unless they cryogenically freeze him, but
not 4, not 5, not 6.
But I think at the end of the day, this doesn't seem to be a huge injury unless we're not hearing something. This doesn't really seem to be like a huge injury. I wouldn't be surprised. I would be very surprised actually to say if he misses game 6. But even then, I mean, even with kind of he was shaken up. He had a great, statistically, he had a great game, and I think and for Anthony Davis, it's almost somewhat of a conundrum because if it is an extent of an injury that is bad, he can actually miss. It's kind of the rushing back to the injury conundrum. If he can actually miss time if he aggravates it again, do you stay in that? Do you stay and play? Because we saw last year when you have Kevin Durant, who everyone thought, oh, it's a minor injury. No one really needs to. I mean, it's an Achilles, but it's not that like it wasn't like
It
that
was like
bad.
strained or something. Like it wasn't
Yeah,
like that bad.
and then
Yeah,
he
it
gets
wasn't a tear. It was a
No, it was
strain.
calf. It was a calf thing. I remember it was a calf
yeah
thing, and then it turned into Achilles.
yeah, and then he tears his Achilles and he was out for the next and basically kind of
Er,
swung the direction into the Raptors' favor and was out for the next year.
Yeah.
So if this is something that can be re-aggravated, and I'm not a medical professional because that's illegal, but
Mhm.
if it is,
Even if you were, you wouldn't be allowed to give your opinion online.
good point. No, but if this is such a huge injury for Anthony Davis, and this is not me being selfish about being a Miami Heat fan because genuinely I still think LA without Anthony Davis can still somewhat pull up a good game against Miami.
Mhm.
They still pull up a good game against Miami. I mean, they have LeBron.
any LeBron-led team can.
Yeah. I mean, look what he did with Tristan Thompson and J.R. Smith as his best
Jeez,
players.
yeah.
Um,
And Matthew
Hey,
Dellavedova.
Dellavedova.
All right, Jinx. Okay, continue, Ben.
Yeah. If this is an injury, I think you should sit it out. He's still what, he's like what, 25, 26. He's still kind of getting to that age where he's about to get into his prime. I don't know. I think he should, if it is an injury that is going to really hinder him for the rest of his career, how like Dwayne Wade opted to play on his knee rather than get surgery on it, and that let him down in his later years, and he had to become more of a scorer rather than attack the rim, which he usually was. If this is something that will hinder him for the long term, a player like Anthony Davis is probably going to make the championship again. Is probably going to get to the finals again. So I think the best for him is probably to sit out if it is going to be that bad, or have his minutes kind of somewhat restricted.
Yeah, because Brandon, I want your point here. What is a 70% or 50% healthy Anthony Davis better than, I don't know, Dwight Howard or JaVale McGee? We haven't seen JaVale McGee yet.
Well, we even saw tonight that even with somewhat, battered and, not looking the best, having to deal with, his ankle, he still was able to put up and he was still able to be somewhat effective tonight, even though he probably didn't continue the game 100% because, during that fourth quarter, that late stretch there, there were times where the commentators were saying like, look at him just like limping up and down the floor, trying like gingerly walking, all that kind of stuff. So for me, it's more so the fact that maybe you limit his limits to a degree, but
How does
I
this
don't.
affect Game 6 going forward?
I think honestly with Game 6, I think he'll play Game 6. I think tomorrow's just going to be really sore. I think his ankle's going to be, it's going to be really sore. And then Game 6, he's going to turn around and on Sunday and be able to play. Whether it's for 30 plus like he did tonight, and or just maybe 20, 25, just trying to be as effective as he can, so the Lakers could possibly close out on Sunday.
I don't know how effective he will be defensively, but he can for sure put that pressure on offense, hitting shots from deep or just getting the ball in the post and demanding the double team. Anthony Davis, if plays, will demand the Heat's attention. So I do feel like we're going to get him out there.
Yeah, so honestly, like worst case scenario for them, like unless he's ruled out by some, crazy development, which I don't think will happen, but worst case scenario, he plays like Kevin Love. And that's still, clearly with LeBron on the team playing like he did tonight could be enough to win Game 6, right? And I say that's worst case scenario because maybe he doesn't want to, risk jumping off the leg and he decides to, play more around the perimeter, but he's still a great shooter. So he'll make some shots too if he needs to. I think that it definitely an interesting thing to monitor going forward, especially if he re-aggravates it. If he takes a couple of hard falls early in the game, then that's something to look at. But I don't think it's going to affect them too much because even like an 80% or, like you were saying, 50%, Anthony Davis is still a force to be reckoned with, especially on defense. You can't take his height away, right? He puts his hands up, he's like touching the rim, right? You still have to shoot over that. Does anyone have any concluding thoughts before we wrap this thing up and
go ahead, Ben?
Anxiously await Game 6?
All right, I think if this series has proven anything, and this is the series that has proven so much, is that Paul Pierce really needs to get like a life or something. I mean, seriously, oh my God, yo, you can't. All right, he went for Lakers in 4, right, and he got that one wrong, and then he goes, Lakers blowout here tonight. Okay, I mean, maybe this isn't a grudge, but there's like.
Nah, but it's definitely a grudge. So look out for that. Look out for that 50 players better than Paul Pierce video coming soon.
I was gonna say we're not hinting at it. We're not hinting at a 50 players better than Paul Pierce, but we are hinting at a 50 players better than Paul Pierce video.
Yeah, we're getting it ready for you guys. This is Ben and Brandon's little baby that they're working on. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been our pleasure to host this podcast for you after an incredible Miami Heat win in Game 5.
We got a series.
Yeah, we got a series for sure. So make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share to whatever you're listening on. This has been Backseat Banter. I hope you guys enjoy. Share this with your friends if you do want to hear our thoughts after Game 6. And if there is a potential Game 7, make sure to stay tuned and click that bell to hear our next podcast when it does come out. Thank you guys so much for listening. Backseat Banter.